Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today we're going to be doing something slightly different and looking at a bag as opposed to a piece of tech or a toy. However, carrying your gear is an important part of it as well, so every so often I like to do a review on something such as this. So what is this exactly? This is the Swiss Gear Vertical Travel Bag, item number SA2365. Alright, so vertical travel bag, pretty self-explanatory, but let's just go into those parts of that name real quick. The vertical comes from the fact that all the pockets and compartments are facing up. So unlike a backpack, you're not going to have zippers that come down the side and the whole front flopping forward. None of that. It's all about being vertical and relatively slim, as we'll see in a bit. Alright, the travel bag part, well, that's self-explanatory. You can use this while you travel. And if you travel, you probably either have something like this, or you've seen a lot of your fellow travelers with this slung across their back or on their shoulder. Alright, but even though it has travel in the name, there's nothing saying you can't use this on a daily basis. In fact, especially outside the United States, quite a few men actually do wear these. Just like most guys put a wallet in their pocket, they might have this bag on them or something similar to this. Now, as far as carrying a bag with me on a daily basis, I don't, but when I do need to have a little extra carrying ability and I don't want to have a full-blown backpack on, I'll carry something like this. Now this is known as a mono sling, and well, the name, because it has one of these straps. Unlike a backpack, it only has one, hence the mono. And sling, because you sling this across your body, and yeah, so there you go, mono sling. And this part kind of rests in the small or the curvature of your back, so it kind of somewhat disappears, and it's just a lot, let's put it this way, it's noticeably less cumbersome than a backpack. But yet you still have some carrying potential with something like this. Now, however, if you're going to like a fancy lunch or whatever, and you take this out and lop this on the table before you sit down, people are going to say, how was your rock climbing experience today, or something like that. So sometimes this might be a little too much. So something such as this might be a little more appropriate. Now, some other names for this, by the way, you might have heard of crossbody bag, or this might get some chuckles from the less mature, but sometimes it's called a man bag. Or you can just go with what is called on the label as a vertical travel bag. Alright, so now with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and look at some of the literature that came with it. So we have this hang tag, always on the move. And you can see they have pictures of, bike, it looks like hiking, and also, of course, the airport duty there. So, gives you case. And there's a picture of the bag, and then there's some little features here, and in case they're not coming up on camera, I'll read them out. First one there says padded tablet pocket. There's an organizer pocket. There's a water bottle pocket, adjustable shoulder strap, zippered pocket, and internal mesh pocket. Alright, and then this other little hang tag here advertises that it comes with a 5-year limited warranty. And supposedly it can carry all the way up to 6 books. I wouldn't put big textbooks in there, but yeah, alright, anyway. And then you had also, there's a laptop and tablet sleeves. That whole laptop thing, I don't know, unless you have like a mini laptop or something like a netbook. But anyway, we'll get into that later when we actually get into the pockets. Before we go further, I wanted to put this out here for scale. This is just your normal little cheapo lighter, but it gives you an idea of how big the bag is or how small, depending on how you want to word it. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the what the bag has to offer as far as pockets. So in total, I counted 7 pockets, and then also 4 compartments. So there's 4 major compartments, but if you take advantage of everything, I guess there's 7 pockets. Now, when I say that, I'm not including these guys on the side. This one here and this one here. I suppose that's where you can put your water bottle. I wouldn't recommend that, and we'll get into that later, but for right now, I'm not considering these pockets in my count. Alright? So, because they're not really secure, and okay. Anyway, so let's look at those pockets. Now, the first is on the very front here. They kind of cleverly hid the zipper. It's behind this little flap. You pull that down, you can see there. And there's your first pocket. In this one, yeah, so, there's some padding there. Okay, but keep in mind this pocket is integrated as part of the flap that will be opening and closing. So I wouldn't really put anything too heavy in there. But we'll open up the main flap there, and then we get our next compartment, which is right here. And this one does have a few things inside, so we'll look. So there's the main part. You can also see the logo is can see them there, so they're on the inside. It gives it a little classier look. Okay, anyway, so then there's of this compartment, there's the main pocket, and there's also some little stuff organizers on there. So we have this one, kind of separated with this thin, but still seems relatively sturdy divider. And then there's that mesh pocket in there. Dig in there a little bit. Okay, you can see it there, right? So there it is. And you can see the meshy stuff there. All right. And there is also a little, up at the very top there, you can see right there, you can put like a pen or something in there. All right. So let's move on. Now this is the main pocket compartment. Okay, so there, and then here there's a little, by the way, I don't know if it's going to come up, but there's like a little label here, if you can see it, and it says on it, tablet. So this is evidently where you'd put your tablet, and we're actually going to put a tablet in here later. I'll come back to that. So here's apparently where your tablet goes, and then there's another main section, perhaps to put those books that they're talking about. Okay, now let's go ahead and fling the flap back over. And on the very back here, we have one more pocket, and that's secured by Velcro, as you just heard. And there you go. So there's another pocket on the back. Okay. And that is not a pass-through, so it is actually closed on the bottom. Okay, now let's talk about the strap here. The strap, there's nothing super special about it. It seems like it would get the job done. So you just have your typical slide adjuster here. Material, like pretty much every other backpack you've ever put on. You can kind of see the texturing on there. So it's not too slippery, but it's also not super grippy, somewhere in the middle. It's attached to the bag on one end here. So you can see we do have a little gusset, or what we call eyelet hole, that's sewn into the bag. So that should hold pretty well. On the other side, it's also sewed into the bag, but you see it doesn't have the eyelet hole, so it's just straight up sewed into the bag. But it seems relatively sturdy, so I wouldn't worry about this giving out on you. Okay, now, one thing I almost forgot to show you is the bottom. So the bottom is made of a stiffer, more robust material than the sides. Not to say that this isn't robust too, but this is noticeably a little more coarse, a little more heavy duty. But again, it'll serve as the shoe for the bag, so yep. We are going to go ahead and, let's talk about, before I go any further, let's talk about these pouches here. Now, most likely they're meant for, people are going to use their water bottle. They're going to put it in there, and these can somewhat stretch out to accommodate different sizes water bottle. However, I won't recommend using them, and here's the reason, a couple reasons why. First of all, let's talk about the water bottle in relationship to the bag size. Now, if you have something like this, all right, and that's also a mono sling, but considerably bigger than the one I showed you earlier. This is more like on backpack range, right? Okay, but anyway, you can see I have a water bottle here. But because the bag is so big itself, the water bottle nicely just conforms to the side of the bag. And you have a bag with a water bottle on the side. Now, in small, such as this guy, it's like you're going to have a water bottle with a bag attached to it. So I really wouldn't use these. Now, if you had a very small or thin or narrow water bottles as something like this, that might work. But most water bottles aren't narrow like this. So anyway, I just wouldn't use it. But that's up to you if you choose to use it. And of course, it will obviously make the bag heavier. So, all right, now with that out of the way, I was just going to point out some of the cool features. One of them we already covered, which was the fact that this front pocket here how the zipper kind of hides itself. I think it gives it a cleaner look than a lot of other bags. That wouldn't be an option, and you'd have clang, 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 the zipper or the little pool tassels hanging down. So that's more of like a style thing. But now let's get into the more functional and probably arguably the more important would be something like this. How the front flap holds or closes or secures is with a clasp, right? No doubt, you closed it, you can feel it, you can hear it, and you're really going to have to rip on this thing to break this loose. I like that. Now, some other cheaper varieties, they'll either have a snap, which you have to kind of push and listen for it, and you're never quite sure if you did it or not. This, again, there's no doubt. And this is way better than, obviously, the Velcro, which, you walk by anything and grabs hold of this, there you go, your bag's open. So, as far as closing, this is probably the best you could get. So that's a definite plus. And then one other kind of clever, well, it's actually quite clever, is if you choose to hang this up on a hanger. You can see the little hang hook here. They went ahead and sewed that into the back, or a sturdy part of the bag, and it's back here. And you can see it's also sewed in. Now, other brands who might not think as much about where they place this kind of stuff, or just flat out cheaper brands, they would probably put that hook here up at the very top, right, to hang it like kind of like a retail hanger. Okay, but why that wouldn't be as good is because then it would put stress on this. Not only would it not look good because you'd always have this thing dangling up on top of your bag, but on top of it, if you ever did hang it, and let's say you had something heavy in there, like say like a tablet, maybe a book or two, it's going to cause this pinching and this tenting of this. And then over time, after you hang it over and hang it over and hang it over, you're going to eventually have this not only kind of deformed, but it might also weaken this a little bit. And also by hanging it back here, you don't put any stress on this, right? So that's pretty clever right there. All right, so one other thing I was going to do is I was going to go ahead and put a tablet in here just so you could see it fit in. And then there's one thing about this bag that I would kind of change. It's not major, but we'll get to that. I'll be right. All right, so here we go. I've got my tablet out here. I'm going to put it in. The tablet is this one. It's a 10.1 inch screen tablet, and as you can see, I have my little flip case on there. So this is a tablet plus a case. So you can. I'm going to go ahead now. This is the pocket where right here where they have designated tablet. However, I noticed if you put a 10.1 inch tablet in its case, then it's too tight of a fit to put it in there. So then I put it in this main section here. And ta-da! So yes, it fits. I mean, we could try putting it in the tablet thing. I mean, it would probably fit, but it wouldn't go in. It would kind of be a pain to get in and out. So, but I'm pretty sure if I didn't have the tablet in the case, it would probably fit in that top part there. So, but anyway, either way, you're good. It'll fit inside. Okay, now I talked about the one thing on here that I kind of change. And this is a reasonable thing. I'm not asking for anything too crazy and out there. And what this would be, and it would be quite easy to solve actually. See this top flap, how it goes over the top, but you notice it doesn't quite totally cover. So there's this little hole, see right there on the side, right there, and of course there's one on the other side as well. It would have been nice if these would have kind of fanned out a little more to cover those two potential entry points for something like rain or whatnot. Now, I mean, it's not a huge concern, but I just think it would have been easy just to have, even if it was just at the top. The whole thing doesn't need to be wider. Just if it came out a little like that and went back down, that'd be great. But other than that, it's I think a really good deal, and for the price, it's more than fair, and it works well for me, especially when I kind of have it as a designated bag for when I carry the tablet. So, but you'll use it how you see fit.